You can't eat ice cream with your hands. Unless you do, in which case you're a maniac. What's the best dessert in the entire world? Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jer. We are going to be doing another battle bracket style video where we're going to be attempting to figure out what the best dessert is in the world. These are according to my opinions, what I like, what I enjoy. This is my personal preference. If your favorite dessert gets snubbed, it's okay. I've been doing a lot of these brackets. If you're enjoying them and you want to see a specific category, let me know what you want to see. But without further ado, let's get into this because I had a lot to say. So the only parameter that I'm even slightly concerned about is if I like these. And that's what we're going to be basing this off of. Some of these, I'm already looking at this list and I'm not recognizing what these might be. So I'm going to have to take some shots in the dark on them since they don't actually have a name. But our very first round is between a milkshake and red velvet cake. I am really partial to a red velvet cake. I love the flavor. I love the consistency. I love the cream cheese frosting. And I know that there's some contention about red velvet cake, right? And if it's a real cake, it's just chocolate cake with food dye. It's not. It's so much more than that. A real red velvet cake is not going to be just chocolate cake with red food dye. It's an experience. And if you don't get the red velvet cake thing, that's fine. It's just not for you to get. But you know who it is to get? Me. It's for me to get. And I'm going to choose red velvet cake because a milkshake is going to make me blow ass. That sounds fun until you're dealing with the stomach gurgles. Next is what I can only assume is just cheesecake, but it's got raspberries on it, but it's probably just regular cheesecake, to what appears to be, I don't know if this is German chocolate cake, because that could be the coconut at the top. That could be a peanut butter cake. So I'm going to make an intuitive leap just based off of what looks to be at the top of that slurry that you'd normally find as an icing on like a German chocolate cake, because sort of scrolling the rest of this, I'm not seeing anything that would maybe dictate that anything else is German chocolate. So we're going to make a broad assumption that this is German chocolate versus just a plain boring New York style cheesecake. Sorry, I'm not saying that it's boring, but like plain cheesecake is just whatever. I would choose German chocolate over plain cheesecake. Now this, if this was like a peanut butter cheesecake, if this was chocolate cheesecake, if this was s'mores, if this was strawberry cheesecake, you know, if this was the strawberry with the swirls, okay, mama, that one, I would choose that. But between just regular old plain cheesecake, it's gonna have to be German chocolate for me. Oh, I'm so hungry. It's between cupcakes and cherry pie. I'm going to assume it's cherry pie because there's cherries that are on the photo. Again, there's not really any indication to believe that this is supposed to be any other kind of pie like apple or just pies in general. I don't love pies, I'll be honest. I don't really like the way that fruits caramelize. And I know that's like a weird thing to harp on. So if this was just pies, it would probably lose. But because it's cherry pie, I actually like berry related pies. And I don't know if cherry's a berry or not, but in my head, cherry's a berry. I like cherry pie. It's fun. It's got a nice tartness. It's really sweet at the same time. Cupcakes are bite-sized. At least most of them are. And if they're not, you could do that Anne Hathaway thing where you split it in half. You take the bottom of the cupcake and you put it on top and you eat it like a sandwich so you don't have to worry about getting frosting all over your fingers. But I personally don't mind the frosting thing. I feel like cherry pie, you can't put a scoop of ice cream on. And I feel like with some pies, you need a scoop of ice cream to sort of make it better. Cupcakes are perfect on their own in any capacity, whether they're chocolate, whether they are vanilla, whether they're some amalgamation of both, you know, where it's a chocolate with a vanilla icing or a vanilla with a chocolate icing. There are so many different possibilities and layers of what a cupcake could be. It's anything could be a cupcake. Any box mix of cake could be a cupcake. And that's what's special about it. And I think if I were to look at these two options, I would always gravitate to the cupcakes. And I'm just looking at those sprinkles and I'm thinking about that extra little crunch of that sugar, you know, biting into it, and you get that initial sort of hard tactile feeling of the sprinkles as you're biting into the frosting, which is really soft, but has these sort of stiff peaks right around where it was piped. And then you get that soft cake, and the whole thing is this magical mouth journey that you get. And I love that. I must choose it. I can only assume this is chocolate ice cream. It looks like maybe even fudge brownie, which, oh boy, do I love a fudge brownie ice cream. I love the softness of ice cream with that really dense chocolate brownie in the middle that almost tastes like it wasn't cooked all the way through. Like it's still just a little bit soft. I'm sure that it's probably not a real brownie that's in fudge brownie, or maybe it is, I don't know. But I love the texture difference in a fudge brownie ice cream. It makes my mouth water just thinking about it. And you could eat a bowl of this all on its own. In my opinion, ice cream is such a superior dessert because you can eat it on its own by itself. You can add it to things like cookies or cake or what have you, pies, and it just elevates that. It's something that both is a main character and an ensemble character. And I think I don't want to ignore that in this bracket. I do love these little frosted sugar cookies, the way they really just fall apart completely in your mouth. And then they've got all these sprinkles on it. And as an adult, I love sprinkles. Who doesn't love sprinkles? If you're any age person and you don't like sprinkles, I don't really know what to tell you. If you don't like it because it's like an allergy thing, sure, I'm not talking to you. If you are like a person that doesn't like sprinkles just because you think they look silly or girly or juvenile or whatever, you are wrong. I'm so sorry that you are wrong, and you're allowed to live in your incorrect fantasy. I support all rights and all wrongs in this world, and you're wrong if you don't like sprinkles. That's the end of this discussion. You can feel free to complain about it in the comments if you want. Sprinkles are OP, but between those and ice cream, what am I going to gravitate to? I have to pull out a bowl, and I have to get a spoon and then eat it all and then rinse out the bowl before it starts to smell like bad breath. You know, that thing that dairy does after it sits in a bowl for too long and you just smell it and it's permeating your nose in the worst way. That is something I have to factor in when thinking about this. There's no muss or fuss when eating one of these frosted sugar cookies. You just eat it, enjoy it, and walk away. Maybe it falls apart a little bit in your hands. Maybe you need a little napkin, but that's so easy to clean up. You have a bowl and you have a spoon. You can't eat ice cream with your hands. Unless you do, in which case you're a maniac. I mean, you could wait for it to melt and then drink it like soup, but again, you're a maniac. You know, you get to the end of the bowl, there's a little bit of that melted stuff, and you just sort of like shoot it back, you know, like a Jello shot. That's fine, whatever. But if you wait for the whole ice cream to melt, you deserve to be like put away behind bars, never to be seen from again. With sugar cookies, there's really not any muss or fuss, and that does factor in to a good dessert for me. I don't want to have to mess around too much after I've already done all the work of getting it or making it, purchasing it in any way. So I'm going to go with sugar cookies because they're really great. Ooh, we got a cinnamon bun. Ooh, bitch, I've been waiting to do a food one for a while. Okay, I love a cinnamon bun. I love a cinnamon bun. And you put it in the microwave for like 20 seconds, right? You let the cinnamon sugar and that vanilla just sort of melt a little bit. And then you get that soft cut through with your fork. Or if you want to get your fingers messy, you could pull it apart and then break it off. So when you have a cinnamon bun, it spirals. So you could, like me, during a bad mental breakdown, you could take that spiral and slowly just pull apart from the outside, right? So you pull it off like this, and then you keep pulling it out and you sort of rose it out, or I guess flour it out. And then you just tear off those little edges and eat little bits at a time, but then your fingers are a mess afterwards. But we got a croissant here, and this appears to be a chocolate-filled croissant. And, okay, I love a croissant. That's how you say it in France. croissant. But I got so much of a visceral reaction to tearing apart a cinnamon bun. And chocolate croissants are so hard to come by. They're almost never the way that you want them to be in your head. Like in your head, they're flaky and warm and soft. And as you pull them apart, the chocolate just sort of like oozes out. Where I feel like you can never really go wrong with a cinnamon bun, besides it being messy and there's a lot to deal with in there. A lot to unpack that I just unpacked with ice cream. But I do be loving a cinnamon bun, so I'm going to choose that one. Next, we have what appears to be just a regular chocolate cake, probably devil's chocolate, maybe, because there seems to be a lot, or like a chocolate overload cake. No, overload would be the ones that looks like a volcano. So this may be devil's chocolate versus banana split. I love chocolate cake. I'm a big fan. I would eat chocolate cake pretty much night and day, and I would have no problems with doing so. But a banana split takes me right back to my childhood of going to like the Denny's or something and getting a banana split. And you have both pieces of banana, right? One banana that's been sliced in half, maybe some Neapolitan ice cream, or in this photo, it seems to be strawberry chocolate and vanilla. So you get one of each kind, so you can sort of pick it what you want. Then you've got each one of the cherries that you're going to fight everybody in the room to eat. Maybe there's peanuts on top with maybe some whipped cream and some more peanuts. Maybe sprinkles too if you're really feeling fancy. I love a banana split. I'm a big fan of a banana split. So I'm conflicted here because I want to choose the chocolate cake, but I keep looking at that banana split and I'm thinking about the fruits and how they balance out so well. Remember I mentioned ice cream is not just a main character, but it's also a support role. And the bananas are the main character in this particular scene, and the ice cream acts as a buffer to make it even better. And then the whipped cream comes in, and then you got the last little bit. You save your cherries and you just sop up all the extra ice cream. It's at the bottom and you just pop it right out. Ooh, it's so good. I'm going to have to choose a banana split. All right, so next we got chocolate chip cookies. At least I'm going to assume that's what these are. I don't know why there's a side of something on the side. Is that salt? Maybe sea salted chocolate chip cookies, which sounds like an orgasm just waiting to happen. And tiramisu, I'm thinking, is what this is. We fact check. Yeah, this is a tiramisu, is what this appears to be by looking on Google. I'm gonna honestly like not even think about this too much because tiramisu is nice, and I'm sure I'm saying it wrong and I don't really care. Don't correct me in the comments because I don't care. I like chocolate chip cookies a lot, and I'm adding this element of sea salt in my brain of what that would taste like. And I think I might need to go change my pants because this sounds so good. I think I finished already, you know? This sounds delightful. I'm absolutely 100% going with the chocolate chip cookie, especially if there's sea salt involved, please. Okay, so we got a donut, a cream-filled donut. And I love something that's cream-filled, big and pastry-like, that's cream-filled, versus a ginger snap cookie, which I can only assume is ginger snap based off the cracks in the dough. I like a ginger snap. I feel like I kind of have to be in the mood for it, and nobody really has ginger snap cookies. Like, this is not, I don't know, the easiest thing to come by as far as desserts are concerned. I don't think anybody's going to the store and being like, let's get ginger snap cookies for dessert tonight. Like, I don't know who's doing that besides maybe like abuelas somewhere, you know, out in Central California. But I am gonna go with a donut. This one is a cream-filled donut, and again, in my brain, this is like big nut 100%. I love a donut. I love how flaky and soft donuts are, and they just melt in your mouth as soon as you bite into them. Especially when they're cream-filled, you get that little extra surprise of that custard that's so divine, and it's sort of tart and sweet at the same time that just complements everything. Now that little tiny bit of glaze that's at the top that just crumbles as soon as your teeth crack through it. Oh, donuts. I'm gonna moan, and I have to stop myself from moaning. This is it. Now we're going into round 2, and between red velvet cake and German chocolate, I think is what I determined this was. I think I would go with red velvet cake purely because German chocolate has coconut, and I don't hate coconut, but I gotta be in the right mood for it, where I'm almost 100% always in the mood for that cream cheese on the outside. Cream cheese frosting is so delightful because it's really tart, and it balances out the sweetness within the cake. So you have a great balance of flavors that are happening within this dessert, this experience that you're having with this particular cake, and I love that. So I'm going to choose red velvet. Next, between cupcakes and a sugar cookie, I think my heart is guiding me to a cupcake because of the consistency. Not that I dislike sugar cookies, because I just made a really great case for them. But I think between these two, if I had both of them on a table, my brain would go to the cupcake, and I would gravitate towards grabbing that first because of the texture being easier to manage. All you have to do is just throw away the little parchment paper at the end, and you're done. You've got a sugar cookie, you might need to have a little napkin and bite through it to catch the sprinkles, and then shake the napkin remains, the crumbs in your mouth. And that sort of pulls me away from that, where you don't really have that experience with a cupcake. You just peel off the sides, unhinge your jaw, pop it in, or again, you do the Anne Hathaway thing, where you take it out of the paper cup, you snap off the bottom, you put it on top, you squeeze it like a little sandwich, and then you just bite it and enjoy one little bite at a time. There's something a little more accessible about a cupcake to me than one of the frosted sugar cookies. So between a cinnamon bun and a banana split, I think, despite me really making a huge case for a cinnamon roll, because I do love a cinnamon roll, cinnamon bun, I love these things. I love a banana split, and this banana split looks so tempting right now. I am afraid that it might go farther than everything else just because of the aesthetic, but I'm thinking about that cherry at the end of it all. So now between chocolate chip cookies and a donut, I hate to say it and I hate to break it, I'm gonna choose a donut because of that soft flaky texture. Chocolate chip cookies are great, but they're perfect as soon as they come out of the oven, and afterwards they are sort of dense and harder, which is not a problem. I love a hard cookie every now and again, but I love them best when they're soft and gooey and you break them apart, and just that chocolate does that. Where I feel like a donut, you can eat it cold, you can eat it warm, you can eat it somewhere in between, a couple days later out of a box like a Krispy Kreme, and they're always good and perfect. You get them like 4 days after you've already unwrapped it, and they're hard as rocks, right? They're not fun anymore. But until that point, these are pretty solid. So I'm going to go with the donut. Now we're kind of getting into harder territory for me, because I do love a red velvet cake, but I love just a regular old cupcake, and I'm partial to a cupcake. I kind of wish this red velvet cake was in a bundt, because most people don't like red velvet cake. I don't think their palates are refined enough to appreciate the nuance of a red velvet cake. So having a whole red velvet cake on its own is a little oppressive, because like everyone else is going to have maybe like a little sliver that they'll separate between 4 people. They'll be like, oh, we'll have this much cake. And then you've got a whole cake left. Where in a bundt, it's a more manageable. Someone can maybe take like a little spoonful that they want, and that's it. And then you get the rest of the bundt to yourself, and that's perfect. So I might be just a massive fan of red velvet, and I might want this to be my favorite dessert, but it's not always the most manageable in a setting of other people, because you're not going to polish off a cake on your own. And maybe you are. Maybe you're the type of person that loves to eat a cake. And if you want to sit down, you want to eat a whole cake, I'm not here to disturb your joy. You have your moment. You pop off. I'm going to choose cupcakes because they're a little more accessible. And the last round the second to last round of the left side between a banana split and a donut. I'm afraid that donuts take it. I love a banana split, and I'm really tempted with that peanut flavor that I'm imagining right now with the banana. God, but I love a donut so much too. I guess, like, what am I gravitating towards more? Making a banana split, because I'm not going to go to Denny's and pay like $15 for a banana split, if they even have those anymore. You got to get a whole bowl out. You got to get a banana laid out. You're probably going to put a cutting board or a plate down. You cut that banana in half, or you just put it on whatever you're serving it on, right? Then you got to get out your ice cream, and you got to get out each flavor if you're doing 3. Or you just do 1 like a normal person. You get your ice cream out. So now you've created another dish you got to clean. Then you got to get your whipped cream out and shake that up, pour it on, get your nuts out, pour those on top. You got to get your maraschino cherries and then stick those out. So you got to either get a fork or stick your grubby little fingers inside the jar, pull those out, put them on top. Then you get another spoon, and you've wasted like 17 dishes just making a banana split. And you can't just make 1 banana split, because some other bitch in your house is going to be like, is that a banana split? And then you got to make one for them. That's a lot of work. Donuts, you're probably not making yourself, and I'm not going to make them myself. I'm just going to buy them from the store, where you can't really like buy a banana split pre-made. So I'm going to go with donuts. This turned out way different than I thought it would, because we're now between cupcakes and donuts. And I do think that I'm going to have to give it to a donut, because if I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to buy something sweet, I want something that I can eat at any hour of the day, because I have a sweet tooth all the time. It's going to be between one of these 2 things. That's realism, baby. But a donut I could eat for breakfast. A donut I could eat for dessert. A donut I could eat after like a lunch snack. I'm going to go with a donut because it is more time sensitive to any time of day. Okay, so we've got a brookie, which is a brownie and a cookie, I can assume, because this doesn't look fully like a blondie, and it doesn't look fully like a brownie. It looks like a brookie to me. Brookies are fine, but they're a little dense. It looks like carrot cake is on the right. And if there is anything in this world that I want to shove in my mouth more, it's going to be a carrot cake. I'm sorry, brookie, you don't even have a chance. I have no clue what this item on the left is. It looks like curds. The cinnamon is telling me a story. Is this rice pudding? Quick Google test tells me that this might be rice pudding. And on the right, I don't know if that's a lemon cake or not. A berry bundt cake? Because the hole in the middle is telling me this might be a bundt cake. And then there's the powdered sugar on top. No, this is not a bundt cake. I'm kind of stumped at what this might be. This could just be a regular cake. But then what's the hole at the top? This doesn't look like a lemon cake to me, because it doesn't have the typical icing. And typically with lemon cake, there's kind of a display about the fact that it's lemony. I'm stumped on what that is. I'm not really a fan of rice pudding, I'll be completely honest, so I'm going to take the mystery cake. If anyone knows what this might be, please share it in the comments what you think this is. I'm going to choose that because the berries, but I don't know what it is. Next, it looks like we've got a peanut butter pie. Or it could be a chocolate pie, but it's solidly a pie versus a s'more. I mentioned it earlier, I'm not the most massive fan of a pie, but I do love a chocolate pie. And a peanut butter pie, I'm like, ooh, yes, but I do love a s'more. However, to make a s'more, you must be outdoors. You can't really make a s'more inside your home. Maybe there's a way to do it, but I have electric appliances. I don't have an open fire. I also don't have an open fire on my balcony. There's no way I could do that. I would get literally kicked out of my apartment so fast. So making a s'more is kind of hard. You have to be in a situation that will allow you to do that. You have to have all the right ingredients. You can't just skimp out on a s'more. You have to have the right stuff. Peanut butter pie, chocolate peanut butter pie, chocolate pie, whatever this is, that's a lot easier to get. You can buy it from the grocery store, unfreeze it, eat it as you want. That's pretty easy and accessible. And even though I like a s'more more, it's just not even feasibly possible for me to make this dessert or have access to this dessert in the way that it's supposed to be eaten, which is by toasting that marshmallow. Okay, so now we've got just regular donuts and a brownie. I'm so glad that for once in one of these brackets, it's not a duplicate thing, like the exact thing we've already seen. I made a really big case for regular old donuts on the left side of the bracket, but regular old donuts versus a brownie where it's big, thick texture, maybe some chunks of chocolate in the middle, that nice crunch right at the top where there's a little bit of that that crusty edge that has just flaked a little bit. It's not even, it's flaky really is what the exterior is. So soft in the middle and then a little bit of firmness at the bottom where everything cooked a little bit firmer, right? I love a brownie beyond all reason, so I'm choosing brownie. Then we've got a ice cream sandwich, which I love, versus a chocolate covered strawberry. These are both super accessible. Pretty much any grocery store is going to have these in the frozen aisle. Very easy to gather these and harvest them for your own freezer. Now, while I do love a ice cream cookie, I love fruits. Fruits dipped in chocolate is divine. It is what I believe people think that heaven will be, is what a fruit dipped in chocolate is. It is bliss, especially if you got a nice sweet strawberry that's been dipped. If it's like a tart, not ripened strawberry and you bite in and you get that nice sweet chocolate, but then you got that just puckery, tart, strawberry taste, it can really foul up your experience with this dipped fruit, but when it's good, it's good. So I think honestly now talking through it, I'm gonna lean towards the ice cream cookie because you could get a foul tasting strawberry and a visceral reaction while thinking about it. I'm gonna go with the cookie. Okay, so we have pumpkin pie versus mint chip ice cream. I don't even have to think about this. It is mint chip ice cream all the way, especially if you put it in a cone. Ooh, I will eat butt for a mint chip on a cone. Ice cream on a cone, a sugar cone. Mama, pumpkin pie can rot in a ditch. That only shows up once or twice in a year, in a calendar year, and it's never as good as you want it to be. Mint chip ice cream is superior. I didn't like green for the longest time. I thought green was like a horrible food. No matter what it was, if it was green, I was not interested. This, I've grown to love. I love the flavor of mint, especially when you put some chocolate chips in there. Oh, so good. Okay, I'm going with mint chip ice cream before I excite myself too much. Next, we have apple pie versus peach cobbler is what I'm going to assume. The flakes, the fruit on the left looks like peach to me based off of the thickness. And I can see a couple little ridges right at the top. And then that thick piece at the top looks like what you typically put for a cobbler. I've already expressed I don't like warm fruits. But what this photo did do was add the vanilla ice cream. Like I said, a starring role, a main character, and also ensemble. Ice cream makes apple pie better, but I still don't like it. I don't like apple pie. I'm going to go with peach cobbler, not because I love it, but because it's a safer option between these two for me if I was choosing. Someone said, I have peach cobbler and apple pie. What do you want? And I can only eat that. I'm going to choose the peach cobbler. Sorry about it. Oh, okay, so we have what I'm going to assume is monkey bread. Maybe it's not. This looked like monkey bread at first, but maybe it's just like cheap monkey bread that I've had before. No, that's not monkey bread. What is this? What is this bread that's on the left? I know it's on the tip of my tongue what it's called, but versus a peanut butter cup, girl, it's peanut butter cup all the way. I don't even have to think about whatever that bread is because I don't want it. If there's a peanut butter cup, it might as well be over. That's going to make it all the way to the end. Okay, so we've got carrot cake versus the mystery cake from earlier that I still don't know what it is. I'm going with carrot cake because of the spice of a carrot cake. I think it's got allspice and star anise. It's got star anise, I believe. And then you've got the little flecks of carrot in there that make it so sweet and savory at the same time. Then you've got this lovely icing around it and then the walnuts. I've always loved carrot cake. I remember going to Hometown Buffet when I was a kid, and they had these little petite size carrot cakes with a carrot that had been drawn on top in orange icing with green icing coming out to represent the leaf and the greenery on it. And I remember eating so many of those carrot cakes and just loving carrot cake. From maybe being 5 or 6 years old, I am going to absolutely 100% go with that over whatever this mystery being is. So now we've got the chocolate or peanut butter pie versus a brownie. And again, this is kind of no contest for me. I don't need to think too much about it. Going with brownie. And then between a plain old ice cream cookie versus mint chip, put the mint chip in my mouth. I'm taking that. Sorry to this man. And then again, this is kind of a no-brainer. I feel like a lot of the right side was sort of like, I'm going to push you through because I have to. Peanut butter cup all the way. Doesn't matter if it's Reese's cups or just a regular peanut butter cup. It's that. All right. So between a carrot cake and a brownie, I think I got to go with a carrot cake. I think I have to. I love a brownie, but I got to go with carrot cake. Oh my God, the consequences of my actions always affect me yet again. I love a mint chip. I really do. But I love a peanut butter cup. If my partner said, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy you a dessert, what do you want? I'm going to ask for peanut butter cups every time. Peanut butter cups are donuts. I love mint chip ice cream and I love an ice cream cone, but it's sort of situational for me. I got to be craving it, but I want it all the time, but I got to crave it. Does that make sense? I have food aversion and I also talk a lot. So sometimes this sounds really good and then other times it sounds mid. Doesn't sound bad, it just sounds mid. Peanut butter cups always are top tier and these look like they have salt on the top. So if you put sea salt on top of a peanut butter cup, pants are down, mouth is open. Whatever you want, I'm ready to do for you. All right, we got between the one thing I said that I would absolutely eat butt for and carrot cake. Damn, this is hard because we got to be thinking about what it's going up against, which is a donut. I think there's going to be a really hard fight between any three of these. And I've been liking sort of evaluating what will win at this point. Because between the three of these, what do I like the most? What is my favorite dessert of all time that I will always ask for no matter what? Yes, I love a carrot cake, but I love a peanut butter cup just a little bit more. And I will always want those. So now it whittles down between a donut and a peanut butter cup. And I really have to determine what is more important to me in this life. Is it a donut or is it a peanut butter cup? Which one of these are easier to get? They're both inexpensive. You could buy a dozen donuts from the grocery. Those little Krispy Kremes that come in the pack of 6 or 12. But they're not always going to be the cream-filled donuts, and that's the one that I want. Packs of peanut butter cups are so easy to come by. If my partner goes on vacation somewhere with his family and goes to like the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory or any type of like little mom and pop shop, they're probably going to have peanut butter cups, like those big, thick peanut butter cups. You know what I'm talking about? Those ones that you got to hyper extend your jaw just to bite down, and you need to have the jaws of life just to crack through that chocolate. But as soon as you do, you're going to taste the most rich homemade peanut butter you've ever had in your life. It doesn't taste all like crispy and sort of flaky that the Reese's cups do. Not that that's bad, but you don't get that processed peanut butter thing. It's just heaven and bliss no matter what kind of peanut butter cup you get. Whereas a cream-filled donut is not always going to be the one that's focused in a donut box. And if you go to the grocery and your grocery store has just a box of cream-filled donuts for the same price as the other box of donuts, I would gladly choose cream-filled donuts. But I think I have to go with peanut butter cups as the ultimate dessert. This went in a completely different direction than I thought it was going to. Because in my brain, I fully thought that red velvet was going to go all the way to the end, knock everyone out along the way, and I thought that would win, and then peanut butter cup swooped in, and I didn't even see it. I didn't notice it. It was a sleeper hit. But I do want to remind you that donuts are superior, always, in any form, except against a peanut butter cup. And that is the dessert bracket. What's your favorite? What are you most angry about that I skipped out on, that got overlooked? What was the most underrated dessert in here? You tell me. But don't comment on tiramisu. If you say a word about tiramisu, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to ignore you. You could have the nicest, most insightful comment, and you could say, but you mispronounced tiramisu, and I don't care. I don't care. If peanut butter cups were not stuck in that last little bottom right part of the bracket, I think that easily donuts could have won. I think that very easily carrot cake could have won. There's so many different ways that it could have panned out at the end, but knowing that peanut butter cups was always going to be there, as soon as I saw it, it was game over for the rest of them. But what's your favorite? Do you have an opinion? And what the hell was that mystery cake? If you know, let me know in the comments. I've been putting out a lot of videos this year. Please feel free to check those out. Some gaming, some drag race, some variety content. I'm kind of all over the board as far as content is, but I'm having a lot of fun this year. And I hope to see you on the next one. Make sure to check out some of the other battle brackets if you liked this one. And let me know what you would like to see going forward for more battle bracket style videos. See you on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.